Do we need variety? Welcome to Philosopher's Corner. I'm John. Do we need variety? So we live in a relative universe, which means that a position of one thing is only really true compared to the position of another thing. Relative, right? And then all of the other calculations that we have in our material universe, being a thing in the time-space grid, is calculated in relation to other things. Be that our actual position, our size, our speed, any sort of physical third dimension metric is relative to other things. It's even concepts relative to other concepts. So do we need variety? I think on the face of it, it's clear that we do. We need variety. I think variety is what creates the relativity. Variety is what creates contrast. So even if it's not physical, even if it's just conceptual, we have a way to discern between different things. And that's what gives us the need for variety, right? Like in the physical third dimension that we're occupying, in order to be able to have different things, there necessarily must be variety. That's actually what gives us the appearance of the reality that we're in. Or that I can look at myself and say, I'm a human being, and then I can look at a bird over there and go, oh, that's a duck. And that's just on the physical realm. By being able to see things outside of ourselves that aren't us and that are different than us and that provide us variety, we can get a better sense of who we are. It helps define us. And then it also allows us to gain information from the broader reality. And really, science is the art, well, they call science is art, they'd love that. Science is the methodology of identifying, labeling, categorizing variety. And mentally, conceptually, energetically, we need variety as human beings. Speaking as a human being, we need variety in order to engage in the old, the Hegelian dialectic where you have thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So you have the thing, you have a way you think about something, and then you have something that's a different way of thinking about that thing, and then they can come together, and then you get like the synthesized, the new way of thinking about it. Incorporate a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and boom, now you got this like new thought process. But that doesn't just apply to thought processes. That applies to all aspects of life, where you have your perspective, and then there's a different perspective, and even just being aware of that other perspective, even if that other perspective doesn't necessarily have to be attempting to insert itself into your life. It doesn't have to be making an argument for itself. It can just simply be existing. And when one becomes aware of it, it affects that person. Becoming aware of the other thing makes the person who's aware of it, it changes them. And in that sense, that's really the story of variety. In the most general sense, is just that there are different things, whatever the nature of those things are, whether they be a being, an object, a concept, and their existence in the reality and our awareness of them changes us and it changes them. And it creates synergy. And it may turn out that that's the energy that the universe really runs on. It also provides the experience of life. Because as it turns out, in the broadest sense, life as we know it, and as we're discussing it philosophically, in this material realm, in this, all just this phenomenology of things, it's just a bunch of different variety. It's just a bunch of different things scattered around in the fabric of time space. And us as a human being has a consciousness in the flesh that's anchored in this particular reality. And we're going around and we're experiencing the different variety. And depending on the length of time that we ascribe to it or how we want to categorize it in our brain, the experience of interacting with the different things and the different variety, we call that life. And we have different portions of those things, you know? We have relationships, and we have jobs, and we have, parenting, and we have fun and play, and this and that, and this and that. And we put little labels on all the different aspects of the different types of situations in which we're engaging with the variety of life. But that's really all we're doing. It's just the variety of the experience of life, which the consensus is that this life is infinite and it has infinite things in it, which means that the variety is also infinite, which should provide a sense of relief. Because when we know that time is eternal and that the things in it are infinite, the first thing that one might have happen to them when they come upon this intellectual realization is they may get overwhelmingly depressed because it's like, well, oh my gosh, there could be a reaction. This is going to be like boring, like overwhelmingly boring, right? Or just overwhelming in general. But it's great news because it means that since we know that there's an infinite variety of things, it means there's an infinite and eternal variety of experiences available, because the experiences are really just our interaction with variety. And so in that moment, it should be a cause for great relief and delight, leading maybe to bliss, when one realizes, oh, the variety continues. It will never cease, which means it can always be fresh. That means we're in no danger of the experience ever actually becoming boring. And so when we find ourselves being bored, that means we're just at the edge or the final point of a particular set of experiences that we're having, that we've sort of just done those experiences to completion. But at no point should we ever falsely believe that that's the end of experiences or the end of variety. Because now that we know intellectually that there's infinite things and time's eternal, that means there's an infinite conveyor belt of new, fresh experiences through variety. They'll never end. So there really should never ever be a reason for existential crisis, in the sense that, oh, there'll never be like more fun, or there'll never be this or that or this or that, because it's absolutely guaranteed that there will be, just from an intellectual perspective. It's a relative universe, it's infinite and eternal. It means there's just never going to be, it's going to be a never-ending conveyor belt of new experiences available. And we just need to be aware of it and ready to engage in it in that sense. And so when it comes back down to the question of, do we need variety? Is it something that we require as a human? I think, yeah. In fact, I think it might be one of the driving forces of philosophy. Of course, there's a search for truth, and there's us trying to rise above our animal self, to figure out what it is we were born into, like what have I manifested into with this life, right? Like there's that drive of philosophy, but also there's the drive of philosophy to go, oh, I have this brain that can process so much stuff. Let me expand it into the variety to sort of determine how much variety there is and feed it. And the brain seems to have an absolutely insatiable need to be fed information and experience and variety. And it cuts across culture, it cuts across everything. It's just a universal human need through time and space, whether it was somebody 10,000 years ago or somebody, today. Doesn't matter if somebody's on a smartphone or somebody's making a cave painting. People have had an insatiable need for variety to put through their person. Always seeking it out. It always drives growth. It always drives adventure. It always drives exploration. It always drives evolution. The need to process the variety and the need for new things, the need for fresh experiences. And it seems upon relevant analysis that the universe, aka creation, is perfectly set up for the human's insatiable appetite for variety, which to me, that's good news. So yeah, variety, do we need it? Yeah, I think so. I think we do. Well, thanks for spending some time here with me at Philosopher's Corner. I hope you found it helpful, and as always, have fun.